post their like hurricane prep stuff and not as a sense of like
survival,
prepare for hurricanes.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, the lights might go out for 3 days.
Yeah.
Make sure you have like, if you're the kind of bitch that eats Vienna sausages, pack up your Vienna sausages and your like waters and your this and your that.
That is performative. When
and then
like,
sometimes it's like you see somebody's like hurricane preparedness basket and it's
like
fucking, or fucking charcuterie board and it's just like, girl, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
I love brie too,
Yeah.
but also like this is not.
And I'm like
It's gonna go bad in the fridge.
I don't want to dig on the transplants, but I just
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. I really don't, because I've done it too many times on this show. I really just like, I was watching some boiler rooms and shit today, and it really felt fake energy. And someone told me who's not from here, they say like, I just hang with people who's not from here in New Orleans. Like they found a community of people from Brooklyn or Washington, and it was like, yeah, we just hang with each other because we come from metropolitan cities. And I'm like, well, you're not living in New Orleans, my G. You living, you just doing some other shit. You know what I'm saying?
They just haven't met me yet.
I also have a lot of friends who are not from here. And so I also can't act like fuck all transplants, because some of my closest friends are people who are not from here.
I won't say fuck them, but I won't say fuck them. I would just say respect the soil. But I'm a little bit more antagonistic than
me.
It's
I don't know. Who
you think?
I don't think I'm antagonistic.
You don't think antagonistic?
I never said I wasn't antagonistic. I said I'm not antagonistic about that. I feel like I've also said all that I need to say about New Orleans and transplants and gentrification and my feeling about like people coming and taking up space.
You had a whole fucking
like it's like 11 words.
Yeah,
it might be
everything
11.
you love is from New Orleans. And then someone stole your shit.
Yeah, people, it happens. It happens.
I know how it feels to get shit taken from them.
It happens.
I forgot about that campaign you was running.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all familiar. Phlegm came up with a campaign that went viral. Basically, it's
still going. Yeah, it never stops. I just don't post about it.
Everything you love about
New Orleans is because of black people.
It's because of black people. I forget how much.
It started out as there's a video I saw. This might have been 2016.
Yeah.
2016, 2017. Terrell Dorsey, Second Line Shorty, shout out to her. Someone recorded a video of her dancing.
I seen her giving
on the street
a tour yesterday.
Yeah, she's that girl.
Yeah.
There was a video, probably like one of the first viral videos of her in this like blue sweatshirt hoodie, like beanie situation, doing her thing on the sidewalk. And I reposted it and just everything you love about New Orleans is because of black people. Don't forget it. And then kept it moving. I went to some party at Castillo Blanco, which I have no idea if that place even still exists.
No, I remember that party that shit used to be popping.
And I ironed the letters onto a shirt. A friend of mine took a picture. By the end of the party, the letters have fallen off. Months later, I got the picture from a friend of mine. I posted it online, and people were like, "Oh my God, I want a shirt!" And I was like, "They don't actually exist." And then I just like made them, and then that's kind of where they started. And then during the pandemic, whenever George Floyd was killed, rest in peace, that's when it went up on the marquee at the Joy, and that's really when it.
How did that happen?
Ticked off. I woke up one morning.
They just put it up there,
and they put it up. My name wasn't attached to it. And then I happened to know people who were connected to them, and I was like, "Hey, put my name up," and they were like, "Sorry, okay," and then they put it up, and then that was probably one of the first times that it like popped off. It went up on Afropunk once. The mayor posted about it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then a couple of people, here and there posted, and it kind of makes a little bit of a jump. They are always for sale. I just am not the best at promoting.
Would you consider yourself an artist?
Yeah, but I consider everybody an artist, to be completely honest.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I've told this story before. Like, I've been like in entertainment now for at least the last 10, 12 years, and I never, even when I was growing up in high school, I didn't want to do this because everybody wanted to rap and shit in New Orleans. So I was just trying to stay far away from that. and then I kind of just fell into entertainment just by nature. But I never considered myself an artist truly until like probably the last 12 months. I was just doing the thing that I love to do. Is it some like, I don't know, because I feel like it's some type of ego shit you have to have when you think you're just doing, like, a lot of this shit is just for me and for me to get ideas out.
I consider myself an artist, but I also, like I said, I consider everybody. Hi, Tyrone. I consider everybody to be artists, and so I don't see that as like a title that people need to like earn.
Yeah.
Whether or not people's art is good, which is subjective, but also like what I think is good is that's a different story. But I do think that everybody can make, like, we're talking about Riff Raff.
Yeah.
He's an artist. Do I think his art is like groundbreaking and like, you know, pushing the needle forward?
Yeah, that's
to me, no. But would I say he's not an artist? I also wouldn't say that, because I mean, like, he's making art, and like
he had a twinkle in my. There was a twinkle in my.
He was a twinkle in your eye.
Yeah, there was
some troll shit.
there was a twinkle in my eye when Riff Raff was out, because there's things I see in people. You know, I think my gift, you know, or just we all have certain gifts. My gift was like
your gift is empathy.
Empathy and seeing the God in people, right? And in the Riff Raff, I seen something in him, like Tedros. You familiar?
I don't know who that. That's that boy who.
I think the LAPD also saw something in Riff Raff.
He has. Wait, who would you say? What's his name?
Tedros.
No, I'm thinking of Tizo Touchdown.
Oh yeah, I love Tizo Touchdown.
The one
Tedros
who
Touchdown.
has, like, I don't know what.
The nails.
The nails, yeah.
The energy to me is so abrasive.
Yeah.
And I'm someone that grew up on like
The music is sweet though.
E-Bombs world and like like trolling the internet and seeing some real like abrasive shit online and fucking Deont word and like you know, really seeing some shit that was like, oh, this is sensory overload.
Yeah.
That to me, and maybe I could just be older now, but I'm like, I don't get it. It's not for me. I would never call it bad.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't see the vision. I just may not have access to the vision.
He reminds me of my friend Harakish, who I used to roll with the Pink Room.
I remember the name. I don't know the person, but I do remember this name from.
He was real tender.
I think Hakeem made better music.
He probably I like Tizo's album though. I like how he's writing.
It kind of just sounds like Owl City to me.
I don't know what Owl City is.
Oh boy, do I have
he made that song Fireflies.
An evening for you?
Oh, you probably.
I
think I do know
world turns.
It was like ripping off the Postal Service.
It reminds me of that.
Ripping off what?
The Postal Service.
I don't know them.
That's
You know the Postal Service. Oh.
It's the guy from Death Camp for Cuties electronic group.
Oh,
I do know
It kind
Death
of sounded
Camp
like
for
Owl City before Owl City.
Okay.
We're getting real deep.
Yeah. I would go all the way to like a gym class heroes type shit a little bit,
God.
but not all the way there. But it's a mix
Take
in
a
that.
look
It's
at
a
my
mix.
girlfriend.
It's a mix in that. But I was listening to him the other day, like really listening.
It's not
to
bad.
Him. It's not bad. The songwriting.
But I'm like,
the songwriting is
it's
not terrible.
bad. Is not a very good argument.
The marketability. I think he's just trying to market his shit, and I think he's probably genuinely that type of guy. You know.
Someone said there's no audio on YouTube. I don't know if that's real. Or
I've
not.
responded to them,
Okay.
and we are working.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Baller.
Sorry, I have my Instagram notifications turned off, so I just like never know.
No
I got
worries.
mine off, but my Hinge notifications are turned on.
Not
Ladies.
Oh my god.
Can we turn the music up a little bit, just a slight,
yeah.
so
Turn up
I
my
can get a
headphones.
vibe. So you was talking. So much I want to ask you, Phlegm, because we never really get to talk. We had one good conversation outside of Po' Boys.
Oh my god. Why are you bringing up old shit?
I'm just bringing it up because I like to be honest. I'm not even bringing it up. I'm just saying that was one conversation we had. I was high off mushrooms,
and so then you tried to engage me.
I did try to engage you because you know what it is, man.
Oh my god.
We never had a real conversation.
Oh my god.
And I really like you. I really do.
Red flag.
No, I really do because he reminds me of one of my family members, and I was trying to embrace that with him, but we got off on the wrong foot. So
Mm-hmm. I think we got back on the right foot.
we did get back on the right
got
foot.
back on
As
the
long
right
as we're on a foot.
Yeah, we did get back on
Yeah,
the right foot. But
hippie.
you know what I wanted to say, what I wanted to ask you was you were talking about teaching because I want to teach kids. I really enjoy that. But I was telling you I forgot what I wanted to ask you. It was like, do you get something out of that, or not even get something out of that?
You asked me earlier if I think if I like learn from them.
Yeah. Why you stopped though?
I did it for 8 consecutive years, which is
Okay.
like a long time.
Yeah.
This is the first time in my life since I was like conscious that I have not had to be in a classroom in September.
Yeah.
I mean, I like elementary school, high school, went to college, straight into the classroom.
Oh, you went from
Wow.
straight college straight to teaching.
Yeah, so like this is my first, this little sabbatical that I'm
Yeah.
taking is my first time like outside of the classroom. I'm like 31. DJing is kind of like slowly becoming a thing.
I mean, you're really good
My
at
art, thank you.
Yeah, you're very
My
good.
art is kind of like if I focus in enough, moves to certain stuff. So I'm just sort of seeing what does it look like when
it.
the pressure of the classroom is not getting in the way of me doing stuff.
How you feel about working for yourself or just?
I
not-
hate it. No. I'm not. And also,
I feel that.
also, I am not working for myself. I do not mind. I have a job. I work at a nonprofit in education. I do not mind clocking in to someone's
Well, I
job.
wasn't asking that. Well, when you
I
said you
know,
wasn't
but-
teaching, I thought that's what you meant.
No, I do not. I enjoy a job.
Yeah.
I enjoy having
Yeah,
somewhere to
structure.
be. I enjoy that if I want to not make art for 5 months, that I can still feed myself and live and survive and like do stuff. If I decide I don't want to DJ, I can like take a break and it's not hitting my pocket. Also, I just enjoy kind of like something keeping me engaged.
Yeah, facts.
I love DJing, but it can sometimes surprisingly feel a little isolating depending on like where I'm DJing. When I'm DJing here at home,
yeah.
it's not as bad because I know people when I'm
Yeah.
there. But if I'm DJing somewhere else, especially if I don't have a bunch of friends already set up there. Like when
Yeah.
I went to Atlanta last week, which I had an amazing time.
You were with Alexis,
but-
right? Was that
Yeah,
Alexis? Okay,
she and I were playing. She was there. It was
Okay.
like with her group Deep South.
Okay, word.
And when I don't know a bunch of people, I sometimes just like pop in, play this gig, and then like leave. So
Yeah.
I don't even really get time to kind of like make any connections, and it can be a little isolating.
on
like
the road.
that. Even it can also happen here at home if I'm like not DJing a party that I know people are gonna be at. It can sometimes like, if
Yeah.
I'm DJing somebody's like corporate something, which I don't do often.
Oh yeah, I feel that.
Not because I don't enjoy them. It's just something that I don't do often. If people that I don't know don't come, I'm just kind of up there by myself, kind of like.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Well,
You know,
look.
Is that Diplo? That's a good track.
Well, I was familiar when you first started DJing, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I got familiar with you because I used to see you at the Setdeflo parties when we was at Hi Ho.
Correct. I was a club rat first.
Yeah, and what I enjoyed about that was Phlegm would be one that I always would dance, and that would always uplift the DJ set for me. Because if I seen someone dancing, I'd be like, all right, cool,
I'm
we can
doing
move them
something
up.
right.
Yeah, yeah, and I would enjoy that. And then when you started DJing, I think your first gig was with Buffon at the Drifter, right?
Correct. Buffon is my DJ mom. Shout out to baby girl. Johnny 5 is the other half. I started in the clubs first, like just going to the clubs. And then that shifted into me hosting events. Not hosting, but just like being a host at the club. And then I would always just like, what's this track? What's this track? What's this track?
Yeah.
And then also then going and be like, oh my God, this would be so crazy if you ran this
With this.
after that.
Yeah.
Or like, I would never say it in real time. I don't know. Maybe I did. Who knows? And then Buffon was like, you should DJ. And I was like, there's a million DJs. And he was like, it'd just be 1,000,001. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. And then I think like a year and a half went by and I like didn't. And then Buffon was like, you should start DJing. And then I was like, what controller do I buy? Then I bought like a little, I can't even remember.
The DDJ?
Pioneer something, a small little teeny one.
Fisher Price?
Yeah, baby's first turntable. Not a
DJ
small
Hero.
one like that, but it might have been like a, I don't remember. And then I got my controller. Buffon came over the next day to show me how to use it, and then 4 days later, my first mix went up. And then maybe like 4 months later, Buffon was like, I have a gig at Drifter on the 1st of January.
Oh, wow. It was that fast.
And so he was like, are you coming? And I was like, I'm not ready. And he's like, if you never start, then you'll never start.
Yeah.
And so he was like, on the 11th,
Wow.
you're coming. And I was like, okay. And then
That's beautiful.
once
That's
I started, he created a monster.
No, I remember that. I would assume that you was in your bedroom probably practicing for at least a year before you came out.
No, it was like from when I got my controller, might have been like in October, November, maybe.
Yeah.
And then my first gig.
So this was
like,
right before the pandemic then. This had to be
I
around that
started.
time.
I was by the time the pandemic started, I've been DJing for like a year.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Because you played one of the Setdeflos with us right before the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. And then went ham.
Thank you.
And that was the last time we played. We played Big Baller not too long, but we haven't played in an intimate setting
Yeah, we haven't played like that in a while.
in a while.
I think I played Setdeflo at Hi Ho maybe like 2.
We might have played
times?
once or twice.
I think
I
I did it,
remember.
like,
I remember I remember one time it was fucking popping.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
That's when niggas was doing the bus stop at the end of
Yeah.
my set. And I was like, the fuck are y'all doing?
Yeah, sure. But you have such a. This is what I say. The reason I got into house, right? And I didn't even start in house. I don't know if you know who DJ Hollaback is. He DJs for the Pelicans and stuff. But when I was going to Southeastern, I went to school Southeastern for 6 months.
I almost went to Southeastern.
That's where everybody from New Orleans went.
I
Unless you went to
applied.
LSU,
Well,
yeah.
actually, I sent them my ACT scores, and
Yeah.
they sent me back an acceptance letter. And I was like, work.
Where you went to house?
I ended up. I went to Nichols for a year, and then I
Okay.
hated it, and then I transferred to UNO,
Okay, word.
and that's where I got my degree in education.
I got banned from UNO.
Why?
Cause I cursed somebody out real bad. It was a staff member.
Oh my god,
It was some weird shit.
You proud of that?
No, I'm not proud of it, but
That's kind of what it sounds like.
she did some wild shit. Like, so I was using a fake ID to get into the gym. I was using a homie ID to get in the gym.
Oh wait, you weren't going there.
No, I wasn't going there.
You were just some guy stealing a gym membership.
Wow.
Yeah, but I used to go work
Yeah,
out.
fuck her, dude.
Cosplaying as someone else.
I used to go work out, and I was like, I'm working out, bro.
Stealing
Like,
identities. Yeah.
So-
I'm trying to better myself.
yeah, so I gave her the ID. It wasn't me, but she didn't know that. So I gave her the ID. and
Apparently
then,
she did.
And then she said, yeah, hold up, right? And she comes back with security and back. This
I'm
is not your
sorry,
ID.
Tyrone.
You can't come here no more.
Well, your teeth are falling
Yeah,
out.
so you can't come. You can't come here. You got to go. I'm taking the ID. This is my homie's ID. So the next day I was in the cafeteria and I seen her. I was like, no. Why,
You went back the next
yeah,
day.
I was in the cafeteria eating like a Chick-fil-A. I was like, why the fuck would you do that, bro? Like that didn't bother you. I'm just going to work out. This not you fucking.
Right.
You're a student here. What the fuck is
Oh,
wrong?
she was a student?
Yeah, like why you been a knock? Why you been on
That's
some snitch shit?
weird.
That was on some snitch
That
shit.
is kind of weird.
So I
she
got
had no
the-
authority. Wait, I thought she was a staff member.
No, it was a student, like student workers.
I'm just
right?
trying to get your story
So I
straight.
kind of went off on her, and then she went and told the people I threatened her and all this other crazy shit. And they said, man, if you come on campus
you
again,
cussed
you're
her
banned.
out?
I probably cursed out a
Did you
little.
call her the
bit.
B word?
A little bit.
I don't remember if I called. Look, I was 20, 21. I was
So you were running amok.
running amok. I was
Yeah.
running amok.
And they were like, get this.
Get the fuck out of here. And they said, if we see you on campus again, you're going
get
to jail.
this bitch
Get the fuck out of here, Buster.
out of here.
Oh, so I'm not. So let me get back to what I was saying. So
And we got her on the phone right now.
Yeah.
Tammy, do you want to? You have anything you want to say to Mr. Cavalier?
but when I started DJing, right, I used to see the same way you seen it. It was like I would just go into the clubs and I was like, damn, I would play this like this. And when I got into it, I didn't get in the house. Prick was the person who got me into like dance music, like hardcore. And when I was playing, I used to realize like man, these house DJs don't have no soul. They just play this shit too straightforward for me. Like it's not no melody in it. It's just like
Who are you talking about? Name them.
I don't
I'm
have
kidding.
no names.
I'm
It's just
kidding.
like
I'm kidding.
It's just
I'm
what I would
kidding.
see though.
I'm kidding.
It's just what I would see like from New Orleans, from a New Orleans perspective. Because I play more like hip hop. You play like we at church, and
Correct.
I love that.
And that's
Thanks.
what I like about your sets. When I hear you play, I'm like he understands what he's doing with the rum. Like, and a lot of DJs don't understand the rum like that. They play too straightforward.
I also just
Yeah.
have a good taste in music.
Yes.
Well, that's
I
what
think
happened.
that's
Yeah.
like.
That's
the
first
combination
thing.
unstoppable.
I think that's just like part of it.
That's the first step. If you have good taste, people you could damn near play anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
The technical part is easy to me. I said
Yeah.
like you could tell. I could teach my mom how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But having good taste is but it still has a lot of soul in your sets.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And there's not a lot of DJs that has that soul in their sets. Like the way you play house, like you and Quick Weave are my probably favorite house DJs in the city. And y'all play two totally different styles of house. You know what I'm saying? You play R&B, not even R&B.
I like a vocal.
Yeah, the vocals, yeah.
Back to back to back
Yeah.
to back to back to back to back.
Yeah, you run that
Yeah.
shit. You
I
run
like
that shit.
the human touch is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jalen is just
He bangs it.
yeah, he's
Deep.
banging, and he's a long.
He did the long track. He
Yeah, he
was
needs
long.
and that's why we need platforms. We need platforms for us to show, because I feel like we have the best community DJs in the
Yeah.
South, at least, especially in the South. Fuck, and honestly, what's
You
happening?
hear that little rock?
What's happening in New Orleans? I feel like it's some type of renaissance, man. It's some type of renaissance that people really don't understand, and we need to like embrace that shit, and we need to put that shit on the forefront. You know what I'm saying? Someone has to take that realm. So that's why I'm excited to see. I'm excited for this Saturday,
Yeah.
so motherfuckers can see that.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's gonna be a vibe. It got
Yeah.
it got real like freaky last
God.
Pope.
It did, yeah. There was something in the
Domino.
air. The
Yeah.
musk, the air conditioner was
you
working
gotta bring- you
finally.
gotta bring-
so
you gotta
Was
bring
or
the-
was not?
Was.
You gotta
Oh.
bring them incense back. I think
I
the
will.
incense
I will.
did something. I don't know if that was
Yeah,
an
sprinkle
endorphin.
some horny goat weed in the
Yeah.
ventilation
Jesus
system.
That's what happened.
Christ.
What they actually use horny goat weed for? Like joints?
That's not what I use it for.
Glucosamine.
You know what? So
He has a busted hip, and that's what he uses.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Rubbing on my grandma's joints.
I
You
I
rubbing
grew
it.
up in the Black Baptist Church.
Okay.
From birth. I went to college on a scholarship due to the Black Baptist Church. Shout out to community. And I always loved a choir. I was never, and I never had the patience to learn to play music. for
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
There was a patience there that I was just like, this is fucking boring.
Yeah.
But I always appreciated the like skill, the artistry, the talent of like a choir director and like a chorus of black voices. I never went to white churches, so I have no idea what that is like. My
not that-
dad
it's not
was
that fun.
Catholic or is Catholic. So we went to mass with him one time, and I was like,
No, that ain't it.
it was quick.
Yeah.
I was like, you know,
It's 20 minutes.
I was like, wow.
I thought Catholic
And-
mass was long.
No,
No.
I don't know. Maybe whatever we went to
Yeah.
was like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
like
That's
great.
in and out.
Yeah, it's 30
And
minutes.
Going to
I
Baptist
might believe
church.
in God. Damn, that's pretty quick.
Oh my God.
I don't wanna say believe
in the
God,
Baptist
that's that
church,
quick.
you be up in there 10 o'clock, 9:30 till
2.
1:32. And
2
it's just
o'clock.
like,
That's
it
so
is.
long.
It is what it is.
Easily. Yo,
Is this
I
what
hated
God
that
wants?
But
You went to church a lot growing up, Cav?
yeah, I did.
Every Sunday?
but that was a thing
Yeah.
that
Well,
I grew up with, and so I just could never let that like that again. It's that human touch for
Yeah.
me. That human touch is like important.
I
That's why I
could-
love disco too. I can't play it as well. Shout out to Soul Sister, because she can.
she can play it.
I tried playing disco
It's not quantized.
with my computer, with my computer where I could see the waves, and I was like, bitch, I'm about to explode. I cannot handle this. And so the fact that she does it in the dark on vinyl,
Yeah.
I'm like, bitch, you're crazy.
That's well,
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Kelly. He said he ain't fucking with Soul Sister, but
Yeah.
What?
remember when Kelly said that shit on the record?
Let's take a step.
Yeah, why is it a
let's
shout
stop
out
the
to
show.
him?
Let's stop the show real quick.
Ooh,
I'm sorry,
tomato,
can you-
tomato, tomato.
Let's stop
Kelly,
the show real quick. Fuck Kelly.
Kelly-
Time to drag Kelly.
I'm not gonna do that. All I'm
I'm not
gonna say is that
joking.
Kelly, get your ass over here.
Kelly, if you're listening,
So
that's a shit opinion.
yo,
That's
no,
why he. That's why he asked us to take the show down.
Yeah.
It's a shit opinion. Yeah, because like, shut up.
So I told him, I say, yo,
Love
bro.
you to
a bit
bits,
shit, isn't
but
it?
shut
I
up.
say, what,
Shit.
first of all, she gone as a crowd every fucking time, but also the fact that she's doing that
We
on,
love
on
Mr.
wax,
Legwork.
on wax is difficult. It's not
She's-
easy.
That is in.
No,
Yeah, I don't know.
Insane.
It's nuts.
I will never do that.
It's
What?
insane.
I
The
will never
talent
do
Yeah.
that.
is out of this. Also, the music taste is out of this world.
Yeah.
The song selection is out of this world. But I was like, oh, that is like a skill.
who has the best taste
He's an athlete.
Between whom?
in the city?
Oh.
Of the DJ community?
I mean,
I just said
I'm gonna say me.
yeah, everyone's gonna
Yeah.
say, if
I'm
you're a
gonna
real
say
DJ,
me.
you're gonna say yourself.
Yeah, but also like outside of me, I think Soul Sister has a great. God, I'm losing my train of thought.
palette.
Has a great taste in music. I
Yeah.
think Rockaway has a really good taste in music. I think you have a good taste in music. I think Quick Weave. I think Buffont. There are people who are also not DJs who I think have great.
They
taste
have a
in
lot
music.
of DJ. Like Vic has amazing taste in music. Like him too. Honestly, I like being surrounded by people with good taste in music because they dig more than me and they do all the digging for me and all I gotta do is bring it.
He loves to outsource the work, you know?
They just-
Y'all do the digging. And
They
then be
do
like,
the
I remember
digging.
like, oh my
One
God,
time,
Jodeci, listen to this track.
I remember like one time, like 3 or 4 years ago, we were like hanging out. I was like, "Oh man, I heard this track. I gotta send it to you." He was like, "If you ever find a cool track, send it to me." I was like, "Oh yeah, man, sure."
Do you get a finder's fee at least?
No,
Damn. So
no,
that's your ally.
It's
work.
free. Yeah, that's yeah.
Tucker's a
reparations.
ghostwriter in many ways.
You know
Yeah,
what?
Ghostwriter.
I'm not the type to
Damn.
gatekeep tracks or I'm not the type to gatekeep any music.
I don't
though.
gatekeep. I don't
And like
gatekeep.
if I show on a track and they DJ it, I think that's cool. Like I have no problem with that. Like
So I do my own digging. Let me get the record straight. I do my
well,
own digging.
I did teach you how to find music online.
No, that's
No,
that's,
What
not,
do you
true.
mean?
no, that's not true. I'm fucking with you.
that's never happened. He's bullshit.
I showed you SoundCloud, dude.
but
Look, check this out.
I don't mind getting music for free because that's
You're
like
gonna love this.
when we was doing Pink Room, like all of my friends, they had immaculate taste in just
Yeah.
music, and they would just teach me, like how people playing Bowie all day, Brandon doing some Jamiroquai shit, and they just be putting me on like old type of music, and I'm like, damn, these are like that's where the DJing really is. The
Yes.
DJing is in the history.
Yes.
It's in the digging. It's not
Yes.
it's not in all the bells and fucking whistles.
I disagree.
Tell me.
I think that is in both. I think you can have a great song selection, but if you cannot get us from point A to point B smoothly, I do
Great.
not want to go on this journey with you.
No, you're right about
There have
that.
been like, it's just
It
like
depends on what day it is for me.
never. To me, it's the one thing that will take me out of the fantasy
Fully immersed.
quicker is
Yeah.
like a sloppy transition. Not just one of them, but if
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is just like,
This is your vibe tonight.
excuse me, part of your tip is that you struggle with getting us smoothly from track A to track B. I also back up. I understand that I come from a very different nightlife experience.
Yeah.
We party in like warehouses and
Yeah.
condemned spaces as like queer people, and so in those parties, the goal is a seamless blend from track to track.
Facts.
The whole night long. So scratching and like what is it called? Backspins and like the like
Hard cuts.
that is
Yeah.
not a thing that we do.
You don't like a hard cut?
Yeah.
And so I think they
love a
work.
hard cut.
I think they work when they
Yeah.
are done
Correctly.
well and done right, but it can
Yeah.
quickly
Rare.
turn into a gimmick. And for me, the quickest way to take me out of the journey again is to like remind me that these songs are not seamless songs. And so they can be great, but I'm like, if you can't get me from point A to point B smoothly,
So
then like what I don't want to ride on this bumpy road.
I
With you.
have a question. How often? This is for both of you.
Okay, what's up?
How often? And this doesn't mean per show, just like per throughout your life through your DJ sets. How often do you have a sloppy transition where you're like, I kind of flubbed that? Does that happen to you ever
There might
anymore?
be
Yeah,
like, there might be
it
like
happens a
one
while.
or two a set.
Yeah, it
you know,
happens
where
a-
I'm
it happens a
like,
while.
"Oop," and you might see me like typically is when I
Yeah.
start giggling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
So
and I just
you
like
think-
keep
you
it
think
moving.
Sometimes
that's-
they don't hear it,
All right.
but
They
it-
rarely do.
but
All right. Thank
when,
God.
when it happens to me, I'm like, fuck. But sometimes when they hear it,
They love it.
it's like, no, it'll take the crowd out.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they love.
They'll
If
walk
it's-
off.
I've
They'll walk
definitely
off.
yeah
if it's
ruined the
bad
set.
enough,
Yeah.
if it's bad enough,
And it's not,
can
and
see it.
it's subtle enough where it's like when you have a crowd by.
It gives
the
you
tip-
humanity sometimes, though. Sometimes it's kind of endearing, I think. I've
No, it's
seen
not
it
endearing. It's not
Something's
endearing. It's not
never
endearing.
endearing.
No, it's
He's just like us.
it's a bad thing because you have a place that you're trying to get to yourself.
Yeah.
As a DJ, like you know where you want to go, and sometimes, taking the wrong route or getting fucked up
Right.
can fuck up. It can fuck up 30 to 40 minutes
Like,
of the night. and
motherfuckers
you
aren't
don't-
getting laid now.
you don't
Are
have
the,
that time.
are the
That.
little people in the computer saying anything that's like worth?
They're
talking
just
about?
saying LMFAO,
Oh my
trash
God.
opinion, LMFAO,
Oh,
not
yeah.
ally word.
When I was when I was talking about Kelly, with
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit opinion.
yeah.
Etch
it's a
that
lot
on
of
my
concurring.
tombstone.
a bit shit.
Shout out to
Isn't
the
it?
people in the chat though. Pansy,
Yeah.
Quickweave,
Aw.
love y'all. Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you for tuning in and talking with us.
But yeah,
every time.
I will say that people will give you a pass if it's like one
Yeah.
a set. But if you're like
If you just
track after track after track, it's just
Trevor,
like, okay,
I'm not
bitch,
bringing- I'm not
that's
bringing-
just like,
That's
girl,
offensive.
You're not coming to set the floor.
did you go to driving school or no?
Yeah, but you saying about the backspin. I came up in I come up in the club like the reggae.
Yeah,
clubs.
you love a backspin.
I love it. I love it.
You
But I
love
come
a
I come
backspin.
from the
Right.
reggae shit where it's like I wanted to implement that. Like I don't play house traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play it traditionally. But when I tried to play it traditionally, I got bored with it. You know what I'm saying? Like you and Jalen play more traditionally, and I admire that about y'all. Cause it's like it's something that I would
You're
like
such a
to
rebel.
do. But I like to be punk with shit. I like to be on some punk shit with the way I play.
It's like
It's
destroying
almost like
your
some Jeff
instrument.
Mills shit. Like when he had like the turntables and he was cutting on some
Who?
techno shit. Jeff Mills.
Oh.
Like the tech. Like I like house to be a little bit aggressive, but I also like it sexy. When we was doing high ho,
Like Ron Hardy.
yeah. But Ryan Hardy was more fast. He was just like,
Yeah. Just
yeah,
flying.
yeah, flying through the
And I was
house.
just like, bitch, you're crazy.
Yeah, flying through
What
the
are
house.
you on? And he was like, heroin.
Yeah, he was.
That's what. Let me stop. Let me stop.
He was on that boy.
He was just
He was
drugs.
on that boy. Yeah,
he
he
was
was on
like,
that boy.
girl, it's drugs.
He had to speed it up because he was so slow.
He was like, bitch, drugs is what I'm on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, that's what I think and I admire about everybody. I think everybody got their own. Like Dime is so good to me.
Yeah.
She's so good.
I did my first party, Sinus Strip, which I do
Yeah.
like whenever the spirit moves me. And there was a crawfish boil thing going on right before my party.
Yeah,
And so I was at Poor Boys waiting for the party to end. And when I walk outside, somebody is running like hip hop house something. I was like, who has, I assume it was a white boy. I was like, who has this white boy up on the stage running these
That's how we
tracks like
met.
this?
Yeah.
And so I went on a hunt.
yeah.
And then I go on a hunt to go find it, and I look, and it's like little bitty Dime. And I was like, who is she?
Yeah.
Who is this girl? I am obsessed. Where did you come from? Because she seemed to have come out of nowhere.
She came out the east like you.
But also, I was just like, there are some people who I saw in the club before
Yeah.
they started DJing.
Yeah, facts.
Or they were DJing when I started DJing or before I started DJing. Like Heel Turn.
Yeah.
Heel Turn's been
Yes.
DJing since I started going to the clubs at like 21
Yeah.
a decade ago. And then like seeing Heel Turn like do his thing at Virgin. But Dime to me just like
Came out of nowhere.
it seemed like a Cabbage Patch Kid, and just like overnight someone opened up this fucking Cabbage
is a
Head,
Cabbage Patch
and it
Kid.
was Dime, and I was like, oh my god, I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
no, she's
I'm
that good.
obsessed.
She's that good.
Yeah.
Well, I met Dime 2020 like in the pandemic, because I was doing like parties at a fucking house in the Sixth Ward, and I was also doing like raves out, not even raves, like camping retreats out.
Oh, I do remember those.
Yeah, and Dom used to come out there, but she wasn't DJing. She would just hang out with us, and she was like so cool and young. And when she came back, she just started fucking around. She said, "I'm about to go do a DJ set," and then I just, cause I'll go listen to you. I'll go to Port Washington and listen and just see what's going on, just to try to see what's popping. And I was like, damn, she got taste. And I'm like, damn, she got taste and she know how to
good at her,
do the damn thing. Because there's so many like nuances that you could hear a good DJ. And like some people got it and some people just they have to work on it.
Yeah.
Like Hillturn's probably one of the most technical DJs in the city, to be honest with you. And he has great taste. But if you like,
he's a great DJ.
You got to just know to know. You know what I'm saying? If you know type shit. I wanted to ask you, because this was the topic today, and we kind of touched on it a little bit. We was talking about everything you love about New Orleans is because of black people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what. Well, first of all, you have different mediums of how you express yourself.
Correct.
So,
can you tell us what those are?
On some like hippy dippy woo woo liberal shit. I did not coin this term, did not do this. My friend who I mentioned to, Janae, not my sister, but another friend of mine, Janae, she does not remember saying this at all. We were just talking or we were online and they mentioned that their actual medium is spirit and then it just kind of like shows up in whatever. And I was like, oh, that actually makes, for me, the most sense, because it's just like everything that I do, I'm always like heart-led, spirit-led first. But the way that shows up, it shows up in not just in DJing, but in like the style I DJ, the way I DJ, the way I'm like performing when I'm up there. It shows itself in my visual art practice, which is like face painting. There's like a long version of explanation, but face painting and self-portraiture is the easiest way to describe that. I sometimes do some writing on the side. So like writing too. I think teaching does that as well. And am slowly getting into like producing music, but I will not say that I would not call myself a music producer.
So
in the slightest.
Let me ask you this.
Give me 2 weeks and I can do almost anything.
I love that.
I would say that because I feel like every nigga from New Orleans is $1 million worth of gold.
Yes.
I truly believe that. We just got to learn how to export our shit. I would say this though. I spent like the last 3 weeks with the team working on like developing our website, right? And I'm more of a physical type nigga. I hate the digital shit, but I grew up on the internet as well. But I also grew up on it. Like I'm the last of like the Matrix niggas when like right before the computer just took over our brain. I'm still physical where I know what a dial-up sound like. I'm 35.
Okay.
I'm still a physical where I know the dial-up feel like. You know what I'm saying? And also, I got a computer young, and I was a hacker when I was 12 years old, 11 to 12 years old, and that's how I got into music per se, because my cousin was hacking computer systems and teaching me how to do that shit at a very young age. So I'm saying that to say I spent so much time working on some content shit the last 2 weeks with Vic on the website, just to put something out so people could come to our party in a physical realm. And I had this question, and I was like, yo, what's more important now? Or like, what's more important, the physical art, the physical manifestation of our art, or having a strong presence online?
I think, long story short, or I guess like long answer short, is that I think both. I think to think that we live in a world where the internet and like digital life is not real is, I don't want to say a privilege, but there is a world you have to build physically to be able to leave digital space like that.
Yeah.
People who are able to get, Soul Sister, I think, is one of those people who has managed to build a physical thing. I think Rockaway is one of those people too.
His shit is crazy.
Who has managed to build physical space so immensely and so intensely that they could actually leave the digital world in terms of like needing to talk about their stuff.
Yeah.
And with enough focus in the physical and like going back to like typical analog stuff could make shit pop in the physical space. I'm not there yet. I also don't know if that is a desire of mine that I have. I just have Instagram muted on my phone because I was sick.
You deleted it?
No. I need it for work.
Okay,
But it is muted because I was not only getting notifications from my own Instagram, I'm getting them from my work Instagram. And so now it's just like, bitch, this is overload.
You're inundated, and
is
it's draining the battery.
Overload. I do not get a chance to breathe.
No, but that, like where we at now, like I have to be on it. Like my page is basically a business page, but I have to use it to promote what we do with Setdeflo.
Correct.
And for me, like my personal life is my personal life. I really don't care to express it. Like I have spurts of moments.
You have spurts.
Yeah,
Have
spurts,
You
moments.
be spurting.
Where I want to like just express myself online, but it's so few and far in between that it won't gain traction, right? But what I do express, because Setdeflo is a manifestation of my mind, what I do express is that, and I don't mind expressing that to the fullest of its extent. But as far as having to basically shuck and jive for the internet is where I kind of, the line is like the lines get blurred for me. Like, all right, you want me to dance for you, and I can't.
But I think
there's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you
go
go.
ahead. No.
You go.
Well, I was gonna say I think that there are a lot of people that like to perform or like to display in that way, and that is
right.
authentic to them. So there is, and that feeds into the way that people receive it. Like people want to receive a performance, or at least be entertained if they're on there. So if someone's natural intuition is to present themselves out in that like a very like, I don't know.
I think it's a disease, and we're forced to.
Says a disease.
I think it's a disease, and we're forced to inhabit this world, and we just have to at this point. But I think it's diseased. I think it's fucked.
I mean,
it's another medium
It's just,
though too.
the social
like,
media thing.
The point of art is connection and like in giving concepts and interpretation.
Sometimes.
Right?
For some people.
I disagree. I think sometimes people shit on the internet because it sometimes feels like this nebulous thing that has also kind of turned into this kind of like, I don't want to say grotesque thing, but I think some people are like, this is what the internet's like, this is crazy. And I was like, the internet has kind of always been a like, I don't want to say a cesspool, but like a cesspool, but also really reflective of like what is going on in people's brains in the world for real. As someone who grew up queer, the internet was like one of the only spaces that I ever found and still find people who kind of like are existing in the same like, I don't want, this is gonna sound real like hippy dippy woo woo, but existing on the same plane as I am and like moving in the same way, thinking some of the same things, and not on some like put me in a thought bubble kind of way, but more so in a, I'm not the only one feeling, thinking, moving like this.
Let me ask you this though, because I would agree with that, because I grew up, like I said, I found that as well, but I would say I went to McMain, and I think going to McMain molded me in a sense because it was so many different type of people there, like, and everybody was like, McMain was basically like Lusher before Lusher. Everyone was like, had their own energy and their vibration. So it's so many different type of people. Would you say when you was in Lusher, did you find that same type of home, or was it different, or was the internet more of the safe place than like the community at school was?
There were like parts that were.
Yeah.
I was in the closet in high school, and so. Yeah. Even if I wanted to find queer community, which I ended up finding, but only because we all came out after high school. After high school, yeah. But when I was in high school, I just did not. I have friends who I have now, so I don't want to say that like high school was a terrible experience. Or I don't have friends, but I spent a lot of my high school just like not in chat rooms, but like in chat rooms and like I think LimeWire had like died by then, but just like on like music boards and like music forums and like scouring the internet for like.
So you've been a music nerd.
Since I was like a kid.
Less of a problem with the internet, more just a problem with like social media companies.
But I also, I consider some of those things like Club Penguin to be like proto social media, like IMVU to be the beginnings of social media. Lying in chat rooms is like, like proto social media, and me like, oh, I'm gonna like, let's come back tomorrow at the same time, and then we both hope that we like, and come back to the same little stupid chat room and like.
Well, that's interesting because
it sounds really lame now that I'm talking about it. I spent my time behind a computer screen.
I want to build on that because like I'm straight, you queer, right? And the one of the reasons like I even like when we was doing Pink Room, it was like some androgynousness shit. But one of the reasons I started Setdeflo was because I told you this before, like how you remind me of a family member of mine and it's a person I really love, and I wanted to have a space in the city where all of us could come together. Cause I know niggas from New Orleans, I know niggas from the hood, and I know niggas that's my cousins that's queer, and I was like, damn, we just alike, but I know like growing up there'll be clubs that I'll go to where certain communities wouldn't feel comfortable in.
Correct.
Like queer people wouldn't feel comfortable in. And then if you take a straight dude, straight people don't know how to feel comfortable in the queer space as well. I used to go to Bouffon parties all the time. And I would be the only straight guy there. It would be like me and another dude. And Bouffon parties are very queer. It's like, it's not no mix-up.
But like also it's like intentionally so.
Yeah, but it's not no mix-up. But I was like, I felt comfortable there. And because also they had shorties there too. But I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem being there. But at Setdeflo, I wanted to have a space, especially for black people, that all of us could be at. And I used to get pushback a little bit from some of the people in the community. But also I would get pushback from the black community for being a white thing. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's one of those things of you as the party organizer.
Yeah.
You have to figure out what's your actual value. If your value is sort of like creating this safe black space, you have to sort of like acquiesce to what some people's perception of what that may look like. Or if your goal is like, no, the actual goal of this is to create inclusive space, then you kind of just like have to be like, if you don't fuck with it because you are like, you think this is some white shit, you are wrong.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like, the goal is that I want queer people to feel like they are safe here. Then in order to build that, then that may mean that actually you may not be a safe person for queer people. So if you don't want to fucking pull up, then that's just what it is, but that's just kind of what it has to be.
I mean,
I think we sometimes, when I say we, I mean like people, myself included, is that like, you have to decide what is your actual value. Like, what are your values in terms of what you are doing? And then sometimes in order for you to like align with those values, there are things you have to let go. I mentioned this earlier, maybe it was live, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. About capitalism is like the biggest pimp of us all.
Facts.
And so some of us are like, I want this party to be an intentional space, but in order to make these parties like truly intentional, you sometimes have to let go of like the reins of what capitalism means, which typically means like money. You may get to make this intentional space, but the money's not going to be giving. Bouffon's been throwing Give Me a Reason for a decade. That party's been going on since I first started partying. Like, I remember there are pictures of me in what used to be May Gallery, rest in peace.
I remember that.
Like
I remember. I played that.
Condemned building. Like, it was literally going to crumble on top of us. And it was just like they made no money, probably lost money throwing that party. But the whole purpose was like, we are throwing this party to create queer space. And then there are things that go on later on where we're like, we want this space to be more intentionally queer, to include these people. And sometimes that means you don't make money because you don't make as much money because you want these people to come here. So you may end up like, I'm going to comp your cover and you and like 3 people are going to be +1, you know what I mean? And so that is sometimes like what you have to decide, which of your values are more important. It is really difficult to start out with holding both of them as a real thing. It is really, really, really hard to hold having intentional space for marginalized communities while also trying to get the most money, unless you just are like a big name.
Yeah.
And even then, I think there's still some like consolation. Like, I know people have feelings about Beyonce, but I was like, it was kind of sort of a risk to make this her most recent body of work and to have it be so like intentionally like black and queer on purpose, as loud as it was. Because like there's some people who just like, I'm not going to that.
I seen the pushback.
You know?
I seen the pushback. I mean, as far as the money thing, you know, I agree with you. Money shouldn't be your god. It's not mine. My mission starting Setdeflo was having a space, and I feel like me and Chill tried to communicate that with Chill's narration throughout the night. It's really us trying to be protectors of a black community and holistically, like a holistic space for black people. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's like, and honestly, not to talk about capitalism, but this is how I feel as black people. Sometimes I feel like we get caught up in the fact that we don't know how to accept white dollars, because white people don't have an issue with accepting black dollars.
We don't always have to accept white dollars.
We don't, but I'm saying like a lot of businesses thrive off black dollars. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And they lean into that shit. And we kind of like take, like, my thing is, if there's 1,000, 1,000,000 transplants coming to this community and they so happen to be white and they so happen to frequent my space, now I'm going to make it an unapologetically black space. But if you want to give me money and give me reparations, I'm going to accept that.
Correct. And I think that is okay to do, but that also means that you are like foregoing some of that intentionality of your space in order to do.
No, so let me tell you
which
this.
is fine.
No,
and I think it's what I'm saying is like, it is okay to be like, as a black person who is doing this full time, mm-hmm. I need to be able to eat.
Yeah, facts.
And so like, bitch, I need people up in this party to make money so that I can survive, so I can eat food. It is a privilege to be able to say, at the same time, the goal is to create this intentional space, if you are trying to make money to survive off of that.
That's facts. So I want to make this point, because what I was mentioning just now was probably 2 separate things. Like, one of them is like having intentional spaces. The other one about taking black dollars, that's just like a whole nother conversation on black people just learning how to do business. Like, that's a whole nother conversation. And honestly, you can fuck up your business if you're focused on the money. Like, if you're not focused on the soul of what your intention is, at some point it's going to get lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like at some point there was a time in Setdeflo where I was too focused on trying to create the branding how I thought it needed to exist in the lexicon of what's happening in society, rather than just focusing on the soul of it. I think honestly, people resonate with authenticity, and once you remove yourself from being authentic, you lose whatever magic you had.
But I think you were authentic, and I think that at that time, like we're trying to throw a party, and I think we also we were trying to throw a party and make money.
Yeah.
And this is like the best this is the best way that we can like meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And you know, we live and we learn, and we made the bridges we burn like the
grow.
way.
Now, well, fuck. I didn't start making money from that party till 2020, to be honest with you. And then
That's how it goes.
And then the pandemic happened. And then I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is going on now? Now I have to do some shit. Got to make shit out of nothing. But, you know, being an artist, being broke once, being broke twice, you know, tomato for me. But I'm glad we I always wanted to have that conversation with you in a way, because I think it's important to understand, like, see, like, having, like, me being straight, you being queer, and us communicating and having that conversation on, like, how
talking about today?
No, just in general. Yeah, just in general. Like, I'm talking about having a conversation today.
Okay.
But I'm just in general, like, how do we move? Like, how do we, like, is there room for that? Is there room for spaces to be like, all right, we got straight people here, we got queer people here. Can there be a safe space? Because the Senate has been having that issue where they had to recently adjust their door policy.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And that's because when you get so big, you have to, like, basically what you're saying.
It's one of those, and I think they are just like, as we all have to do, is we all have to figure it. It's just we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
I think, again, I think similar to the people who sort of like preach about taking naps all the time, and
I
how
love naps.
I do too, but in order for you to take a nap in the middle of the day, that requires like a level of like privilege to be able to do that. Like, as a teacher, if I'm working from 7 a.m. till 3:30 at minimum, if I'm taking a nap, that's like happens. I cannot take a nap.
You cannot take a nap.
I cannot take a nap in the middle of the day.
So let me ask you this. We about to get into some other shit now.
It's the halfway point of the show, by the way.
What time is it?
It is the halfway point of the show.
Weed time?
I have a couple of things to say. I do have weed.
We was getting deep.
I have. Well, yeah. I
I
want to
was
let you guys
loving
talk.
Shout out to
I don't
Vick,
know
our
if you
producer.
want a donut, but I do.
That's
have
the
some.
donut?
They're passion fruit caramel donuts from the farmer's market.
Are these regular donuts, or there's like anything special?
They're regular.
Okay.
They're regular.
That's what I meant.
We're not just giving you
no.
the weed
Oh,
shit.
yeah, no. They're
These
regular.
are Xanax
They're regular.
donuts.
I would not. I would never. I do have some weed en route, as in I'm about to go roll it so we can smoke it.
Oh, yeah.
But we also have some questions in the chat,
cool. What's
which
up?
I think would be nice
Questions
to
in the
kind of
chat.
go over.
What's up?
I
wanted to ask him something, but I want his.
Let's
Yeah. Okay. Well, a few questions to ask. So the first one is, how do y'all feel about playing your own music?
Who's this?
This is Quick Weave. This is Quick Weave. How do y'all feel about playing your own music?
If it
during
hits,
a
it hits.
set? If it hits,
If
it
it
hits.
hits,
If it hits, it fucking
we
hits.
go.
Baby, my shit hits.
I just started playing my own shit, like, and I've been having it for years. I just
Oh
started
no!
playing
As soon as the track was done,
Yeah.
I was like,
You was like, I gotta
Yeah.
put it
You're
out.
like, I made this so people can
who
hear
else
it.
is gonna run it?
I
right.
don't know. I was scared, man.
You gotta do it. You gotta just.
I'm doing
put
it now.
out.
I'm doing it now.
Okay. The next question is, dream gig.
Who's it from?
Quick Weave.
Go first, Phlegm.
I would love to play. Excuse me, sorry.
The
No, you're
Willow on a Wednesday night.
Shut up. There are 2 instances. They are both outdoors. It's in the
wanna be
fall.
outdoors,
Either it is a sunset situation or like a sunrise situation.
Oh, I love that.
So those are like probably my ideal.
Yeah. Okay.
Outside.
It doesn't have to
by a
be-
body of water.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Like I don't envision it.
Okay.
I don't envision it. I actually envision it inside of a city. Ideally, maybe in some like I would honestly, I would gag if Joe Brown Park ever did some like house in the park situation from like 5:30 to like 11.
Does Joe Brown still have that sectarium shit?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do?
Recently reopened it up. Yeah.
Oh, word.
I love to do a Crescent Park sunrise DJ
Don't
set.
talk about.
What are you talking about?
Don't give out gifts.
Oh.
Bro, everyone wants to do that.
Well, they ain't do it yet.
We were
so-
talking about doing it years ago.
All right.
Alright,
Well,
alright.
here I got it on record now.
That's
Phlegm
all right.
headlining. No, I'm just
At
kidding.
Joe Brown Park.
Yeah.
I would love, like, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. Like fucking the poolside, but one of those disco sets.
Yeah.
Like with the sun. It don't have the sun don't have to be setting. It
In
just gotta be
Ibiza.
75 degrees.
Don't be doing that.
You know what I'm saying? Mad naked people behind me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a vibe.
Yeah.
I'm fucked up. I'm drinking mezcal. Like,
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
the next question
I'm just wilding out.
is
Are they still here?
worst. Oh, they're still here.
Okay.
This is also quickly, but I do have more from Pansy
Okay.
and Mikey. Worst gig you've ever played. If it was one of Quick Weave's, don't answer.
Oh, the one I did with fucking that Mikey set me up with the Mexican people, where the dude tried to
Are
fight
you sure
me.
they were Mexican?
They were definitely Mexican.
Like from Mexico, not just central. Because
I get fucked up. I get fucked up. Like I call Mikey Mexican. He Honduras.
That's not the same.
I know. He tells me that all the time.
They're not the same.
They're not.
You gotta
They don't even sound the same.
do better.
Honduras and like they Latin American. They Latin American.
We'll give you that.
These people tried to fight me because I didn't have no reggaeton.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, it's a teacher's gig.
Oh, this was a wedding. Oh, it was a teacher.
It was a teacher's party. They literally tried to throw hands with me.
Don't
This
even
is
get
at
started
the
on these
Mason.
teachers.
Well,
Mikey know what gig I'm talking about.
I
Donut was great. Eat your donut, Kev?
I'll never say.
I'm good right now.
I would never say. It might have been. I guess my worst experience has been DJing on like a really short table,
I hate those.
and that's about it.
Like way
But-
down here.
Yeah, well, not maybe like a table that's like 3 feet where I have to
Yeah.
like crouch over.
Bruh.
But I will never say. I will never name an actual gig.
You gotta
also
tell 'em,
because,
though.
also because I don't think I've had gigs that have been like my worst. Like I mean,
You're gonna
not-
have one.
Yes.
You're
I
gonna have
rebuke
one.
that. I rebuke that.
You do,
I
you do it
won't
long
say
enough.
that
This Saturday.
whatever it
Super
is.
Flow.
I just like I guess I blocked it out, so I can't even remember like what it is. It may have been one that nobody came to, but
Yeah. I have some.
I don't think I don't.
I've had some horrible.
Or maybe
DJ
like
gigs,
the
but I've
like
been doing it.
sound was fucked up,
I know.
but like
I got a good one, actually.
Oh,
You know I got some shitty gigs. You know I've got some shitty gig stories. So this is damn, I won't say who it was. This is years ago. I was DJing for this rapper, which I don't do anymore. And I was like, they're like,
Blue?
I actually love this rapper. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. But
talking about the girl.
Blue.
I just say that.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, I'll say it was Blue Shakur.
Yeah.
I love Blue. Shout out Blue. We
Who?
got Blue Shakur.
We just doxed her.
this?
She
We
she's
just
a
doxed
rapper
her.
from New
Yeah.
Orleans. She's actually really dope. I first met her because she was rapping with the J Electronica at Buku Fest.
And
She
that
got,
was
she
your
got called
shittiest
on
gig?
stage.
Rest
No,
in peace
no.
to Buku Fest.
Yeah, R.I.P. Buku.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, so I was DJing some shows for her, and we did this show at Hi-Ho in like 2017 or something.
Fuck IO.
And fuck Hi-Ho. And it was like it's like some like
I can't say
Memphis. It's like some Memphis trap like mosh pit, a bunch of 19-year-olds moshing type rap music. And I was playing her tracks, and like my shit started freezing in the middle of the mosh.
Oh,
And I remember people were like
no.
looking at me like I'm going to shoot you. Like people were like looking at me like really mad, like really taking it personally. Like yeah, she was cool, but it was like and my thing is just
can't-
like if I fuck up
That's why you
my
need the
own
sticks,
set
bro.
is one thing.
Yeah.
But like what I even though it wasn't my fault, like shit happened, shit fucks up. But it was like the fact that I was like supporting someone else and my shit was fucking up was just like the worst feeling ever. I was like, I don't want to do this.
Well,
ever.
you know what
I
happened?
I hate this shit. It ended up being okay, but it was like that's like the worst fucking feeling. Yeah.
My shit froze
Awful.
on like international TV, like like last year. Remember that, Vic?
Flips like
Wait, what
the
is
movie.
this?
I was
you talking
DJing
about Boiler Room?
Oh no, I was DJing the Red Bull
Oh, I remember that.
Mexican.
you
Japanese.
sure it was Mexican?
No, this was Japanese. It was
Okay.
some wild shit. It was
No.
some. What was this, Vic? Because she was taking pictures. Like, so I'm on.
This
like, I'm
was
DJing
a
for,
Red
like-
Bull dance. It was a dance bike.
Yeah, it was. They was dancing on
DMX
bikes. They was
dance
dancing
off.
on bikes, but it was broadcasted live on TV.
In Japan.
No, everywhere,
You were
everywhere.
in
It
Japan.
No, I was here.
originated in Japan.
I was here. It was at.
It was what?
It originated in Japan, but it was the
Oh.
performance was
I was
here
at
in New
Mardi Gras
Orleans, and the
World.
competition was here in New Orleans this year.
Got
it was
it.
December.
Yeah, I was in
Okay.
December, and I'm DJing this gig, and I'm DJing all like my computer's on, and they got me playing like I have to download tracks off a Red Bull site that don't have no music to them. It's like the most
you had to
top
use like
40
royalty
bullshit.
free.
Yeah,
music.
it's
You
horrible.
had to DJ a royalty-free set.
So I'm
You
going
got me
royalty-free shit.
fucked up.
Wow.
They had him
Yeah,
isolated.
They paid me well, but they had me upstairs in this little thing, and at some point my computer's getting hot. I'm
Right.
like, oh, this bitch is going to go
Oh,
off at some
no.
point.
Yeah.
But
Noise
I'm just letting it ride.
The shit's about to lift
I'm,
off.
yeah, I'm just hoping it just cast through like for the next 3 hours that I got to DJ this set.
Oh no.
And at some
I'm
point,
getting a laptop after this gig, I swear.
because they got announcers and shit. They got like it's legitimately like on
the stage.
at some point
I
the shit crashes out.
Yeah.
While the dancers bikers, everybody's just like ruffling.
For shit like that, I just started renting CDJs.
Well, I wasn't playing on the sticks.
Oh.
I was playing on the computer, but that's what's good about the sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, if they don't fucking knock on wood, they don't fucking go in an emergency loop, then you're really fucked.
Oh, that never happened to me yet.
It's happened to me once.
Wait, I
Oh,
didn't know
shit.
about that. What's emergency loop?
It's
yeah.
where the USB is like fucked,
Yeah.
or something is fucked up,
Corrupted.
where like they aren't speaking to each other at that
Right.
time, and I guess to keep from just crashing out, the CDJ picks like a little piece to just like loop,
And they
over
just stay
over
on.
and over. And so sometimes it loops a part that no one can tell that it's fucked up.
Right.
But other times it'll loop like a vocal. If you're playing vocals like I
Right.
do,
Right.
it's only happened to me one time. And luckily it looped a part that was right before the vocal started.
Oh,
so
thank
you
God.
couldn't tell.
That's why you
And
need a
then
backup.
There was another DJ who happened to have a USB that they
Yeah.
didn't pull out. So I
Yeah.
just ran through and I was like, I don't know any of these tracks.
Yeah.
And I pulled mine out, restarted the CDJ, and then it luckily was able to work. But I spent the whole gig like, dear DJ Gods,
That doesn't feel good.
please.
No, it don't feel good at all. You gotta have a
It's not
backup.
fun.
But that's what happened to Hill Turn like last one to come. His CDJ wasn't working, and he said I'm gonna just play on Kelly's CDJ. I was like, dog, you don't know none of Kelly's tracks.
Shout out to Kelly.
Miss Legwork.
Oh.
I'm like, why do you want to do that? Just go to the crib and get your shit. Like
He got track. He probably knows a lot of Kelly's tracks.
like no one
It's
knows.
house music,
I would
bro.
know them. Yeah, I think
It's house music, bro.
No, it's not.
there are a couple
Everybody's
of
shit is
people's
different.
there are a couple of people's
We could figure it out.
USBs that
We could figure it out.
I think I could do a solid set off of your USB.
we could do 45 minutes
think-
at least.
I think everybody's shit's different.
Quick Weave would be a challenge, but
Yeah.
I think I'd be able to do fine. Rockaways would be easy to do.
Yeah.
This is a fun
Fonts
game.
would be easy to do.
I wouldn't be able to do none of
we
them.
should do- we should make a tournament. We should do a tournament.
We switch flash
A
drives.
tournament swap flash drives.
I think I could make do with.
You're blind.
I know I wouldn't do it on Kelly's shit.
I would, and I think I could do like a solid set. I think I would have trouble doing one on Mikey's shit. I don't think I would be able to do it. You would be like again. You would be a toss up. It would be like I
Yeah,
would
you
have
would know
to
what's in
kind
there.
of like.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I could figure.
I think you'll
Yeah,
find the
find a
folder.
BPM,
I'm actually
just kinda
very
ride with it.
organized. I'm very organized, so
Yeah,
you
I
would
can
see a
figure it
folder and
out.
be like, okay, I could just stick to this
I
folder.
just figured out, or I'll just go to all the tracks and just spend my time like.
What's
okay,
your
I'll figure it
organization
out.
vibe?
I organize mine by gig because.
Oh, okay.
I do that too, actually.
Because I only, luckily, 99% of the gigs that I play are gigs that I want to play.
Yeah.
Not that I don't play weddings,
Yeah.
but when people ask me about playing weddings, I'm always like, I play gay clubs.
But
If
how would you play a
want-
wedding though? Like that's what I'm
And
saying.
so I
like,
would just say, if you want your wedding to sound
Like-
like
a gay
a
club.
gay club, then by all means book
Yeah.
me. And
I might be
usually
down for
people
that.
are
I
like,
should start saying that.
people are like, no thanks.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Oh,
like,
fucking
I
right.
need
just
to hear
like, yeah.
September.
And so I have
I love
never. I played in Smoothie King Center once, but it was like that was like a disco set,
I
which
don't
is
think
like
I've never played that.
which is doable. Someone knew someone who was
They
like,
rented
do
it
you wanna
out?
play? No, it was for a concert.
Okay.
I did for like Duran Duran and Nile Rodgers, and someone
Oh,
was
shit.
like, do you
Duran
wanna
That's
play?
pretty cool.
And
Right.
so they were like, do you want to play? And I was like, sure, girl.
You opened up?
Technically yes, but
Yeah.
also I didn't.
Okay.
But yeah, I just like played music while people were like walking into the stadium. for,
How
like,
you
an
felt
hour.
about like? Was that the biggest crowd you played for? Or was it even a?
By
Or biggest
number?
venue?
Yeah.
By number, yeah,
Yeah.
but I would not say I wasn't playing for
crowd,
them.
I
It was
feel
just
you.
like
Right.
Yeah.
background music
Yeah, I
while
see
they were
what you're
coming
saying.
in.
That's what-
It is different than playing in the club. The monitors there, they don't do enough. because like the speakers, you're in a stadium.
Yeah.
So the speakers just overpower any monitors you have. I already mix in my headphones, but I literally couldn't take them off because there's a lag between what I'm hearing in my headphones and literally the time it takes for
it
the
just
sound
fucks
to
you
travel.
up. It
And
just
I was
fucks you up.
like, I could not depend on like feeling the
Dude.
beat. So
Damn.
The first time that happened
It's
to
not
me
made
was
for
like,
that,
what the
though.
fuck is happening
It's not
right
made
now?
for that.
it's kind of crazy.
But
I forgot what I was saying.
Remember one time I was
do.
DJing Setdeflo at Poor Boys with you and Quick Weave and Kush.
Pink never dies.
Pink Never Dies. And like I remember like I don't know what happened with the controller I was using, but like as I was like transitioning to like I'm not gonna say it was a drop, but it was that kind of vibe. Like the next track I went to like had the filter. Like for some reason the filter was stuck like super low, so it just like it was like popping. It was one of those where it was like popping until it was like okay, no, that just killed the whole momentum of the
You
whole.
gotta learn your
set.
gift, baby.
Are there more
I think
questions?
that shit broke, unfortunately.
We do have another question. This is from Pansy. He was asking Phlegm, how was it going from those early gimme parties to playing a lauded queer dance festival like Honcho?
It's the same. It is the same.
Cool.
I will say, I mean, yes, there are more people and like we're outside and not inside wet ass, sweaty ass poor boys. But I will say that like one of the things that I noticed whenever I came back was that everyone was like, oh my God, the community. And we're all like hugging and everyone's so Let me stop putting it. People share their experiences of their time after Honcho. And a lot of what you hear people talk about is sort of like, I never get to like commune in spaces where everybody's queer and we're all kind of like on this same open heart type of beat. And people are like nice and hugging and saying hello and saying good morning and like doing the whole thing. And I was like, I too experienced that same thing. And then when I got home, I was like, oh, that's why this is so magical and foreign for y'all. Because like when you live in New York City, when you live in LA,
Right.
when you live in like Chicago, when you live in Detroit, when you live in like Pittsburgh or like small town USA.
Fucking right.
The cities don't move like that, and New Orleans just inherently, naturally moves like that. So when I went there, the energy for me was like, I was like, oh, this is similar.
Oh, so it was like all these other cities. I was saying.
It's authenticity, like you were talking about earlier. It's moving openly and just being embracing of other people and saying good morning, you know?
I want to tell you something. You know, so like 2018, like when we was getting Setdeflo, like on like the ball, I was having like a bad, terrible stretch because me and we wasn't competing, but Ascenders was tearing my ass up at one point. And Sonali had came to the show one night. She came after. It was like, I remember it was like December 2018. And she just yelled at me outside of the room like, Cav, what the fuck are you doing? You need to be pushing the culture. You need to be pushing the fucking line.
Oh my God.
You need to be doing more than this. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are you yelling at me in front of my party, right?
I'm tired.
And then I got home and I just heard Sonali in my mind that whole night. And I was like, she's right.
Because she was just saying like.
Yeah, she was right.
Yeah.
And shout out to Sonali.
Do more shout outs to Sonali.
Yeah,
and
we love Sonali.
And I went back the next month and I just started like really like honing in. Did Sonali? I want to ask you, did Sonali ever yell at you like that?
Not at me.
Yeah.
Sonali has never yelled at me like that. I think mostly because it just never needed to get to that point.
Yeah.
But Sonali and I like, Sonali started. She's like my like nightlife auntie. Like Sonali.
That's exactly who she is.
Has been like in the clubs and in the clubs that I partied at when we were like technically too young to be in the club. Like at Big Daddy's like 20 years old.
Yeah, she was a Big Daddy.
Rest in peace to Big Daddy. Yeah, the first parties I ever went to, those are my first parties were at Big Daddy's in that fucking big window.
I don't remember parties at Big Daddy's. I just remember hanging at Big Daddy's.
They used to throw Deep Les. Deep Les was a lesbian
talking about right
party.
Across from Ebays, right? Right across from Ebays,
Yeah, where they had that big window.
Yeah.
Facing, I think it's Franklin. Might be that street. I didn't remember.
Yeah, that is Franklin.
But they would throw Deep Les. It was either once a month or twice a month lesbian party. And then someone who was throwing the party happened to see me and my friends at UNO, and they're like, "Oh my God, baby queers!" And like, "Come to the party," and we were like, "Yeah, sure." And then we were like, "We are 20 years old," and they were like, "It's a queer party, bitch. We live on the fringe already." Also, it's Big Daddies, bitch. Just get in here. And then once we started, we just couldn't stop.
Big Daddies is,
and that's how I met Brett. Well, Buffon.
Yeah.
And
Big Daddies is wild.
And Johnny Five. It's like poor boy, like proto poor boys.
So now, basically, that's exactly what it is. So Nolly introduced me to Brett. When she was at the Ace, she was like, "Yo, Cav, you need to do this with Brett," because Brett was doing them at the Ace for a while.
He was doing Slay City at Ace.
Yeah, and he was like, "You need to do this with Brett." And we was doing Peak Room at the time. And at that time, we was kind of, I think we was on the heels of Solange shit, because I was doing that shit with Solange at the time.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, she had the city turned up.
That was like...
She had the city turned up.
I don't know if I've seen anything quite the same since she left. And I would say like that was like...
No, it was a different energy.
As like a youth.
Yeah.
I think I had just started teaching, or maybe we were like right before I started teaching when she was here. And she was throwing these parties that felt so... intentional, from like the music and the venue and the way that they like designed those spaces. And I was like, and I don't know, I know that there was some stuff that people felt like about they didn't treat some people in New Orleans the right way. I don't know any details on all of that. I will not gonna deny anybody's experience.
She just didn't pay.
I will just say as an attendee to those parties, it's one of the few times in the city where I felt like there was like, there were queer people and there were straight people in space together that felt like everybody was like, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I think similar to what you were saying about what you wanted to do. I think that she did a really good job somehow of like.
She did. Because this was before Setdeflo. Like, honestly,
that's pre-Setdeflo.
Because honestly, what happened was I did her first one because Armina, her good friend Armina had hollered at me. Because I did one, Christian Scott at the time was dating one of Armina friends, and I did one of them.
Talking about the one who plays trumpet.
And I did something for him and his fiance at the time. And Armina seen me. She called me and she was like, "Yo, I want you to come do this at the." They had a store.
Exodus Goods.
Yeah, Exodus Goods, and I did the first one there, where the internet came. That's where I met Tucker. That's where I met a lot of people at.
That's a crazy night.
I think I remember that.
It was a crazy little vibe, yo. It was so nice, and I did the first one there. And I still got the picture from that, too. It was me and Solange. And then I did one with her at the taxi, and then Shenyawai started with us.
I do remember that, too, because he did another one at the...
Montague.
Either that or was the one that was across the canal. They were in like a... Maybe he's done both.
Yeah.
But they were like in this space, and I can't remember the name of the space.
She was finding some wild spaces, and she was flipping them.
I was
but
like,
when we was at
this
Montague, the one... what's Tristan has it now.
Yeah.
Tristan has it now.
I miss partying
it was the one that was like a two space
open
situation.
It was going crazy. It was going crazy. Every party was intense. And you're right. That was like the predecessor to like, okay, these people in the city, they're ready. Like that's when you see like the mainstream community starting to come into what was going to happen in underground.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would consider, like you say, we do gay clubs and, like, I would consider this still underground, but I'm more of like the first point of contact for underground. Like as far as for how black people see it. You know what I'm saying?
You mean currently here?
Currently, because it's like when they tap in, like there's more underground shit than me. Like what Kush is doing, what Bad Luck's Lex is doing, I'm not even underground no more. Like for the underground people, they don't consider me underground at all. I'm talking about people who's like on some mainstream shit, who has their first experience with some shit that they consider weird. Because they'll call this shit weird what I'm doing. They'll be like, okay, I will tap in with that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I want to make people who look like me kind of understand why this shit is important to me and important to the community. Because this is the places where you can really be free at. If you're not on that type of time, you're going to leave just because of how we operate. But I want people to understand, like, I'm not trying to gatekeep the underground. I'm trying to show you, like, you don't have to be on no basic shit. You could be yourself, bro. And there's a place for you if you know how to operate in it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to always push that line, because I think the more people who understand our culture, I think. Oh, this is what I want to ask you before we got over the questions. Mm-hmm. I feel like, how do you feel about, like, black people getting money?
I don't know. You may need to
clarify
that
a
little.
Let me ask you this.
Clarify it a little more.
All right. In order to operate in this society, like, we need resources. Mm-hmm. And without resources, we can't do the things that our imagination, we can't manifest those things.
Correct. It's hard, right?
It's very hard. So how do we execute a vision, or how do we operate in that? Because we just can't be perpetually poor.
It kind of depends.
I know that's a deep question.
It kind of depends on the kind of world you're trying to live in.
Yeah.
If you're really trying to get, like, radical, crazy, cuckoo.
I know radical niggas.
No, but I'm talking about, like,
yeah,
not quite off the grid, but, like, right before being off the grid, it looks like truly sharing resources, where, like communal living.
I was low key doing that
situation, which is not. I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Tucker not there either.
It also would probably mean, like, divesting from the shit of, like, capitalism, which includes, like, cell phones,
the fucking phone,
internet, computers, cars. Like, it involves, like, the way that people dress and clothes. Like, it involves really removing yourself from a lot of those things in order to kind of, like, place your value in other stuff. It doesn't mean you're not placing it in material stuff, but I think the materials start to shift. If the goal is to survive in this, like, under the pimp of capitalism, then I think that you kind of just have to. There is no true ethical way to do it. I do think that there are ways to do it that are less harmful.
Yeah.
I think if you have access to a lot of resources, whether that be information or money, it is your responsibility to, like, share those resources to people who, and not on some, like, pity shit, but on some, like, where is the value of the work? Like, someone recently, I don't always like doing this, but I'm just going to do it for the sake of understanding. I got a grant a while back, and then because I got a grant, they allowed us to give grants to other people. And so they were like, pick an artist who you think should get this grant. And I know people who were doing work, and then my entire goal was, like, I know people who are doing stuff that may be more likely to get this grant, but also I know people who are less likely to get this grant, whose work I do think is pushing the needle forward and really doing some cool stuff, and I really think could take this money and, like, flip it into some other shit. And flipping money does not always mean making it, like, double and triple and stack. I don't always believe in, like, taking money and, like, investing it and, like, trying to make it bigger and wider, but I mean, like, can you take this money and then really just come through in here and, like a bull in a china shop and just, like, run crazy?
Yeah.
And so the person who I nominated ended up getting it, and to me that is, like, part of the work, and being like, hey, I did this thing, why would I not share this, how I did this with you, or, like, this is how I did it. If you want me to help, let me know. You know what I mean? Like, that. I think sometimes giving money is nice because it helps for real, but I also think that sometimes people give money as a way to kind of, like, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like handouts, and I'm just like, what I don't want to hand out is what I want you to do is like put me in those spaces and let me kind of like do my thing. I will sing the praises of Bouffant until I can sing them no more. What Bouffant has done for me as a DJ, Rockaway's done this too, but I will say Bouffant has done this, is that Bouffant has not always been like, oh, do you want to play my party? Do you want to play my party? And like kind of keep me trapped in whatever's going on here. Bouffant has always been like, I know people who are doing this thing. Let me put you in front of them. And then you do what I know that you know how to do. And then you're going to be able to get up in here on your own. And so that is what I've been able to do. And there's been a lot of gigs that I've got that I know the people through Bouffant. But what has really got me there is like, I got to playing Honcho because Bouffant was like, I need y'all to know who this is. And then just put me on their radar. And then by putting me on their radar, I was able to kind of like get up in there.
I mean, you're talented.
I know. But what I'm saying is that like without someone like Bouffant who could have very easily been like, you're talented, stay in New Orleans. And just kind of like, or just like, not even gatekeep, but just like not even be intentional about like.
Well, that's what I come to where we need resources, and that's my main thing. It's not like.
But we can provide those too.
I can't provide resources if I don't have access to capital.
Yeah, but
I'm saying, but what Phlegm is saying, I'm sorry, I don't want to speak for you, but you know, the idea is, if you have position in the community, you can put other people on.
I mean, that's
through
facts.
Those connections.
That's
correct.
Facts. I mean, whenever we got light, like, I'll tell you this: when the Vice article happened for Pink Room, the first person that we put on, I don't know if you remember Delish. Mm-hmm. Delish is amazing. She's a queer rapper. Mm-hmm. We've told them she was basically on the cover of Vice when we did that article. We was like, yo, y'all gotta see what the fuck she up to, because she blew my mind. Now, she was upset with us because she thought we was trying to, what did she say? She thought we tried to profit off that, but all we did was tell Vice the name, and they ran with the play. We told them to reach out to the list. But we always was trying to put other people on. The fact of the matter is, though, as black people in America, you don't have access to resources or capital. And my thing is, we either create our own, or, you know what I'm saying, we get with some people, let's say the allies, and they help us get access to that capital. You know what I'm saying? My main goal, my main goal.
You picked the wrong ally.
I know you don't have access
There's
to
no
shit.
capital here.
Yeah, you just running the play. But my main goal, though, is like for us, you know, my main goal is to highlight at this point, like Setdeflo is like the parties is like the first idea. That's not even the full picture. My main goal is to get like to build community in this city, because I know this is probably the most talented group of people I've seen. Every time we go somewhere, I'm pretty sure you receive this. When you go play out of town, I'm pretty sure they fall in love with you because just of our energy here, just because of who we are. And if you don't play good in New Orleans, motherfuckers will let you know you suck. You know, Prick was just on here last week. He said, look, if I don't like you in 10 minutes, I'm not even.
I'll never come back.
He said, I'm never coming back. Phlegm just said, look, bro, if you do bad transitions, I'm not fucking with you. And I know a lot of people like that in the city. It's like, we don't fuck with weak shit. And they going to let you know. They're not going to throw a tomato at you like you in New York.
But that's kind.
But they going to let you know, like, we ain't fucking with that shit you doing. You know what I'm saying?
And people can run their shit and do it how they're gonna do it, or you know, it's whatever.
You gotta be good to go. You gotta be good to be here.
But I will also say, to kind of like push back on what you're saying, talking about Delish, I think you really have to decide like where are your values for real. And I think you're talking about Black people and having capital, and then you're talking about trying to build community, and I don't really know if those things are going to.
Well, let me tell you this: when I'm saying these things, I'm talking about them in two separate instances. Let me tell you what I mean. I want to.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
I want to say this before we finish that. I want to say this start. I want to let it start out with the list thing. Honestly, that wasn't like it wasn't a capital thing or nothing. It was just me saying, "Oh, this person is dope. You need to reach out to them." That was the extent of that. It wasn't nothing I had control or anything over.
And what that may be a reflection of, and again, I don't know Delish like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Delish is still in the city.
I don't know either.
Seen them
I don't know
in
either.
a very long time. But I remember seeing them years ago and was just like also captivated. But I was like, oh, you are tapped into something that is like.
She's incredible. She's incredible.
But
they're incredible.
Sometimes it is one of those things of like what they may be feeling. The reason why I'm saying they is because I don't know Delicious pronouns.
Facts. I feel
Delish could
go
go by she. I just don't know.
Yeah, facts.
But one of those things that they could be feeling was just that like you put me on this platform this one time and then maybe y'all kind of like just went ghost. And that kind of stuff can really feel like you trying to use me as like a token.
Yeah.
Which that can be fucked up. But
yeah.
I will say again, Buffon is one of the few people who I like put on a pedestal like this.
Yeah.
But Buffon has been in community with me professionally and not professionally for like a long time. And it's not just been like one person. It's been like multiple people that I've been able to be put in front of. And I think mostly now I'm able to stand kind of like firmly on my own.
Yeah.
Because I think most of the people who are in our like universes kind of like exist together, or at least are aware of me. But again, you kind of have to decide, like, there are gigs that Buffon, if they're choosing between me and him living in New Orleans, like there are some gigs that I have gotten that Buffon hasn't, or I was going to do them but I had to pull out and then Buffon was like right, you know what I mean? So like that. But that's just like part of it, meaning that in order for Buffon to kind of like put me there is a thing that Buffon has to kind of like give up at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to kind of like.
You saying you can't play both sides of the fence.
Not that you can't. I think that you have to give up bits and pieces depending on like what you are trying to build.
The reason I brought that up, because like if I wouldn't have told you Delish got mad at me or mad at us, you wouldn't have. No one would have known. I just brought it up to be transparent and be like, that's how sometimes we get crossed up and not even knowing, because it's like lack of communication between the two parties that don't really talk to each other enough. You know
but
what I'm saying?
That means that y'all may not have ever actually been in community at all, is what that
community
could be.
Requires communication.
Yeah, communication. At the time, I'm gonna be honest, none of us were. We were just operating. And trying to be friends with people.
Right, and y'all were but also y'all weren't trying to be friends. Y'all were like, making money.
No, we weren't making money. None of us was making money. Like,
but I don't mean like profiting.
Yeah.
I mean like you were getting paid to do Vice was not doing that for free.
No, Vice, we didn't make any money off that Vice thing.
Vice didn't pay y'all nothing.
No, we didn't make any. You know, only thing that happened with us, they flew us out for American Eagle thing, and that was outside of Vice. But we got exposure for it. But I'll tell you this.
I'll leave it alone.
No, I'll tell you this. You said that's money, but I'll say it like this.
It's capital.
It's capital.
Yeah.
That was the only time that's probably the first time. But that wasn't. But it wasn't. The list was like, I brought up the list to say we were always trying to put on the community. That's my mission.
While also making money. And I think
No, it wasn't always about making money. It never was about making money. I didn't start making money. I'm not even making money with this right now.
I know, but it's not making money does not mean profiting. Making money, I mean, you were like doing a business. You wanted to make sure that we were not in the red forever. Y'all were not. When y'all were at Setdeflo at Hi Ho, which I know how you feel about Hi Ho.
I don't like that.
Y'all were not. That party you were doing it weekly for some reason. And there was money involved in that in some kind of way.
It was free for 2 years.
For us, but you told me that you spent your own money.
Yes.
Exclusively. You mean that man at that bar gave you $0?
I made a percentage from the bar, but you know what I did with that money? I gave that to Chill.
Yeah, but
I'm serious. No,
I know.
Tell me your mind.
You keep.
Tell me your mind.
you wanted that party,
Yeah.
ideally, that party to be successful.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. At some point, I wanted to.
It is really hard to operate from
Yeah.
a true communal space while also having money be a thing that is like on your shoulder.
Facts. And you don't think you could do, and you saying you don't think you could do both.
It is hard to devote your attention to both of them.
Yeah.
If you want to dance in the middle, there are like things you have to give up. If you want to lean more toward making money to survive, community is a thing that is really hard to kind of like continue to hold on to. If you want to lean more into community, then
capital is something to hold on. I get your perspective, and I'm not saying you're wrong about that. I think, but also this is what I think. I think at some point, as just black people, we have to figure out how to make resources so we don't have to have to make that decision, that distinction.
That means that initially you're going to have to focus on money. Yeah. And that means that community is going to have to be a thing that
hold
you
that
have to
hold that thought. I have to take
to the wayside.
I have to take this. Hey, say something funny.
Oh my God. Are there any questions any comments in the chat?
Let me look. Let me see what we have.
No comments
going on in the chat. Actually, I don't know.
I tend to agree with you on the money perspective
to talk about Phlegm, but I really enjoy your face painting.
Yeah.
But I don't know the history of how you got into it or like when you did, and I was curious to ask you about that. But I thought a lot of people might already know. So I'll give
the quick and dirty version. The quick and dirty version is that from the art school version, which I did not go to art school, but this is what I give to the art people. My work takes like traditional religious African face painting and then just kind of like thrust it into the 21st century. So like what would that look like if Black Americans had not lost that practice on this sort of like boat ride over during enslavement of Africans? Like what if we had held on to that practice the same way that we in New Orleans were able to hold on to drums, or the people in like Cuba were able to hold on to drums and like music and religion? Like what if we had been able to hold on to those things as Black Americans? What might that look like? And so that's kind of what.
Wait, what was that? What happened?
They were asking about my work.
I asked him about his work.
My like visual.
I really admire his face painting.
It's amazing. I seen it at
Hold on.
Buku one time.
Hold on. Do you wash your hands?
Yeah, I do.
That was really quick.
It was quick. I took it quick because I had to come back.
All right.
Why are you checking me about washing my hands?
I don't know. It was really quick.
I was just gonna mind my business.
Yeah, I was like, so I'm trying to figure out how long did you wash your hands
before you grab these mints? Can I have one?
How long did you wash your hands for? What percentage of time?
Yeah.
Wait. What?
How long do you think Cal was gone, Vic? How many minutes do you think?
I wasn't counting. I was paying attention to Phlegm.
That was a long.
I was tuned in.
So I clocked about 3.5 minutes, according to my timer.
Why are you worried about this?
I do kind of want to ask a little more about this.
Why are y'all worried about this, bro?
I'm not.
Wait,
I'm trying to go back to the question I
let
asked.
Cav live, please.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to roast Cav about his.
Hold on, can I say this before I get off? Can I say this?
I
mean, dude.
No.
I'm here.
No, Phlegm. No, let me like put a bookend on this, right?
Okay.
I agree with what you're saying. I think, because I think these conversations are important, and I also think niggas need resources so they not broke, because the queer community always talking about money and they need it.
Correct.
And black niggas need money, so we got to figure out how to do that. And but I'm gonna tell you this: I'm not throwing parties to profit off niggas. I'm throwing parties because I want a place for my community to be straight.
Then you gotta start worrying about money. That means that, again, like in terms of what I'm saying is that, like, how you gonna say you don't want to profit off of us? Also say in the same sentence, we don't have no capital.
We don't.
Yeah, but then also say I want to make money. Like those, like, it's just like that dog. Literally.
That's why Joe Biden got us in a fucking.
It's not just Joe.
It's Joe.
Biden.
It's Joe, bro.
It's not. Let's not.
It is capitalism. Capitalism
It is just Joe.
If you really want to get that question answered, the people who have resources and capital and money and access, which tend to be white, are going to have to come off of it.
Yeah, Tucker.
So there are two ways in which they come off of it. Through altruism, where they're just going to donate money, like Mackenzie Bezos, shout out to her, who just is like,
oh, you talking about Jeff Bezos' ex-wife?
His ex-wife, but
we
she
need to
was just
holler.
like,
You got a contact?
Just like, here's
Bezos?
I got a
Yeah.
contact.
Sure.
just like, here's the money, here's the money, here's the money. Or there is going to be a thing that they are paying for that they are going to want.
But you know
Right.
what?
Return.
But this
And
one,
that
Which
has to be
sometimes-
redistributed
but
to
Correct.
the people that you
Systematically.
want
But see,
to.
but
And
then-
then also,
but this would-
that means they're want to go, and in your case,
but then
as
I gotta
someone
be
who
the
is throwing
token
parties,
nigga. I gotta be the
not
token
always,
nigga and do all this
Let it
shit.
finish. Let it
but
finish.
what that means is that they're going to have to show up to the party.
Yeah.
They do have to show up to the party.
If you want money that way, again, and this is what I mean about this like intentional space dance.
Right.
Yeah.
You cannot support yourself financially off the backs of people who do not have. And so then you go to people who do have, which means they're going to want to be part of the mix, which
Right.
means you are then giving up this
You
intentional
sacrifice
space.
Some
See,
of the
that's the-
And so
intentionality.
your goal is you kind of have to do this dance. Ascendance is doing this dance by saying, straight men, you're going to have to either be attending, like you have to be accompanied with a femme or a queer person.
We got to
And-
tap dance.
And it's not, I don't want to say that
that's
it's tap
not it.
dancing.
No, I'm just
But-
being antagonistic.
I know,
I was
but what I'm
being
saying is
a
like
dick.
that is sort of how they are trying to navigate this dance.
Yeah.
But also part of that is like you are still going to have straight men who are in this party.
Yeah.
If straight men are the thing, and I think having intentional queer spaces, I think is important. But also sometimes have those intentional queer spaces means that you may end up making less money than you would make if you let the world in.
Right.
But if you let the world in, that means that you are letting the world in. I used to throw sinus drip at Poor Boys.
Yeah.
We
I
all
remember that.
know what Poor Boys is like.
I mean, that's why I'm not.
I
there.
love Poor Boys.
I love it too, but that's why I'm not
Poor
there.
Boys.
I love partying in Poor Boys because it's just giving like freedom.
Yeah.
But freedom comes with a lot of shit. Capital S. And so I was like, I don't know if I feel comfortable dealing with that. And the opportunity for me to throw this party at Ace fell in my lap. I don't make as much money when I throw that party at Ace that I do when I throw this party at Poor Boys.
Facts.
I can, if I really want to, can skew this party to be far more intentional. The intentional party spaces is not a value of mine in that sense, because I grew up in a place where like I'm a queer person partying with white people. In terms of black queerness, I don't really know if people want to hear dance music in the way that I play dance music like that in the city, and large enough for me to be like, this is sustainable.
That's very interesting.
I could be wrong,
That's very interesting.
and if I'm wrong, let me know. And I'm not, you know what I mean. I just could. It could be like it could be a blind spot of mine.
you Hotep?
Enough Hotep adjacent. I'm queer, so I'm not all the way Hotep,
Yeah.
and I teach science, so I'm definitely not all the way Hotep.
Yeah.
but I'm like Hotep enough.
Fantastic.
I believe
Quote.
that seedless watermelons are real. I believe that broccoli is real. I do not believe that period blood should be what did he say?
Oh God.
Green or
So-
clear, or you shouldn't
who said
have
it?
a
Wait, you
period.
wait,
you know who I'm talking
You
about.
gotta breastfeed
who
the
I'm
baby.
talking
You gotta
about.
breastfeed your babies till they 5.
Yeah,
You talking about
That's
Dr. Umar.
nuts.
That's what the
I
Hotep said.
don't believe. You know
I'm
what
a-
I mean?
I'm a
I
Ho-
believe heavily, as you know, in vaccines.
Yeah, I know that. I
Yeah,
know that.
I believe very heavily. I'm of the Church of Vaccines, a tithing member.
Oh my God. I'm a hipster Hotep.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
never been.
I'm trying to
shamed.
change the name of Hotep.
Hipster Hotep.
Yeah. Well, at least me
just
and
a
him
hipster.
Hotep. He's Hotep adjacent. I'm Hotep fully.
Yeah,
Are you Hotep? I thought you were Hotep adjacent too.
I'm hipster Hotep. I don't like the meat, like the publicity that Hoteps get right
He's
now.
post Hotep.
but
I'm
if it wasn't
post-Hotep.
for the
Post-tep.
publicity, you just like
Well, I try to do a fully Hotep night.
the politics of Hotep.
Hotep
You're
Sunday?
all for.
You're
Not the politics, because I think some of the Hoteps, because this is what I think, right? And I know we get into
here we go.
this is what I think. I think the Hotep community has a bad rap. I think the niggas who are really Hotep and who are really understanding, because I think you have to have an understanding of your feminine ideology and your masculine side. And I think a lot of niggas who don't understand that are just toxic. I think people who don't have understanding of don't have empathy, are fucking toxic, and I don't think they have the values of a real hotep. I don't think they should express themselves as hotep. I think they should be disbanded that hotep, cut and hang.
Okay.
I think they should be
cut and hang.
Cut and hang.
So you cut them, then you hang them.
So what are the values
Vice
of a
versa.
hotep?
They're about equality. They're about fairness. They are about balance. They are about humanity. That's the qualities of a real hotep.
I think every group on earth that's a group of people would say they were for those qualities, though.
I don't know yet. I don't know that to be true yet.
I think everyone's like, yeah, we're for fairness, we're for equality.
I don't know
we're
yet.
for freedom.
I don't know yet. Because the Chinese doing some other shit.
Yeah, that's getting out of hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and.
Are you sure it's the
I
Chinese?
will say.
I am balling.
Some of the
They do
the hoteps are very tied to the gender binary, in which I believe is like
they are
not real.
They are tied
and
to that.
we really could get into some like science shit,
But
biological
you're a
sex
scientist,
also isn't real.
I don't
want to
fuss with you about that.
Yeah, because
Because he's gonna
I'll wash you.
He's a fucking scientist.
I think he needs that.
No, we already
We don't have to do it
we
right
kind of
now
already
in this
got
moment.
there.
But
we never had that conversation though. We just got into it at Po Boys.
About what? Gender?
No, we didn't get into it about gender.
No, because there's nothing to get into about gender.
I never combated you about that though. I just talk.
I know, but you just talked about masculine and feminine, which is like.
Oh no, that's what I was talking about. I don't know what I said.
Which is real binary.
I was loaded.
It's okay.
But we was having a good conversation. I don't think it was a bad conversation. All I was talking about, I don't remember what the fuck I was talking about.
Talking about then?
Yeah,
At
I'm talking about
Boys?
then. I'm talking about that at Poor. I don't remember that conversation. But I do remember us. I do remember it being like 4 a.m. But honestly, I don't care enough to be totally honest with you about how someone identifies or how someone expresses themselves.
You should care enough because they care.
They care, but what I'm saying is it doesn't change how I would treat you. My thing is this. I give everybody starts with an empty cup with me. You gotta fill it. Or a full cup and you empty that motherfucker. Either or. But I would say this. How you express yourself, identify with yourself, for me, it's not going to change my opinion if you're a good or bad person. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think
that's a relief.
No, I think too often we get we start to get an identity politics. And we start to marry ourselves to our politics. My politics, how I think doesn't make me any much more different than another nigga. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of wild shit, but
we know.
You know, it don't matter. Like that doesn't make me a different nigga. I think I'm God, but that don't make me a different nigga than you. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
With a capital G or a lowercase G?
Capital.
Okay.
You're not anti-capitalist?
Oh yeah.
You say God's a capitalist?
I made a podcast about capitalism one time because I don't fuck with it either, but I don't fuck with it for different reasons. Because a nigga selling CDs outside of Walgreens, and I'm like, dog, you need to get your fuck like this. The capitalism not working for you. You need to figure this shit out.
Maybe that's what was working for them.
That wasn't working for that nigga.
Compared to what they had
Is that
before.
capitalism?
Yeah, he was trying to sell me some CDs, and I told the nigga,
is capitalism selling things?
Yeah, to the extent.
I think it's a core tenet of capitalism.
Yeah.
It might be.
Listen,
I'm not an economist. My degree is in biology. So
right. Well, you can sell things. It's social to sell things. Much.
Yeah, but he wasn't. I don't think he was going to be distributing those funds equally amongst like.
He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't splitting the funds
to the people who were like.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if the producer and the guy who mixed it.
This was
I'm sure they got paid before. Yeah. I think he was just making his return.
Outside of Walgreens, bro. I don't care what he was doing. He was wasting my time and the old lady's time.
What about the USB guy in the quarter though?
I'm not mad at them niggas. That's a better layout than you bothering old ladies and niggas getting tissue.
Well, people just trying to make money to survive, you know?
Yeah.
I'll try to teach the nigga how to do it better.
Oh.
You know?
Well.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
Don't
good.
be sorry.
I get angry.
We see.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about
We can talk about
if
it.
you want to talk about gender, we could really get into it.
We can talk about it. I know you got concepts.
Yeah.
I got some too.
I'm just saying.
I got some concepts.
If you really want to
it's
get,
just reality.
yeah, that's what I'm just saying. If you really want to get into it, we could get into it.
That's what I was going to talk about. Is like when we attach the word politics to things, it kind of removes the human element to it sometimes. And I think that when we talk about identity, there's a very real human element to how people identify and how they want to be acknowledged and recognized. But
I agree.
So when you know, well, I don't want to say too much.
That identity in itself is political. I think we live in a place where like people love to trend on identity politics, but I'm just kind of like, but I think affirming my own identity is in fact a political thing, whether that be as like a black person, whether that be as a woman, whether that be as a queer person. I don't really know what identities that you.
I'm ace right now.
Yeah, as a person who's ace. If you're trolling, it's.
I don't even know what ace is.
He's a troll.
What's ace?
But I'm just
no, I don't know.
But like if that is an identity in which you hold, I do think that it is important to be like to actively proclaim that in a world where like.
I'm gonna tell you this, bro.
They don't want you to say
I'm
it.
So low key egotistical and fucked up in my mind.
Low key.
In my mind,
where
I truly don't think about what other people are doing.
You should.
I know.
You should.
Yeah.
But to an extent. The part of the thinking is like.
I don't think you do either, though.
I know, but the thing is, I do care a lot about what people are doing.
I care.
And
I care.
I do.
I love black people. I love my black people dearly.
Yeah.
You don't understand. I don't think you really understand.
I may not.
But I do love black people so much that I've sacrificed a lot for this shit. I've sacrificed a lot to try to give something to the community, regardless of how they talk and how niggas talk about the shit. But also, I'm so wrapped up in my mind. When I say I don't care, it's not that I don't care about the next person. It's that I truly believe people should have autonomy over their lives, and they should have full autonomy. And if anybody infringes upon your autonomy, that's fucked up in any context. So I remove myself from thinking about what another nigga's doing because it don't change me because I'm trying to get my shit 100% in order.
But as a protector,
isn't it
important for you to know
I'm protecting your
what's
autonomy.
going on with other people?
No, I'm protecting your autonomy.
It's more the thing is, if you want to be in community with people and with them.
Yeah.
Not just a community around them.
Yeah.
You want to be in community with them. If you really want to into some Hotep shit, on some Kwanzaa shit, your problems are my problems.
Yes.
Well,
your problems are my problems because we live in this place.
Because it's a community.
I do think that.
Together.
I do think that somewhat on the fringes. On the fringes, yes. When we get into the weeds of shit, look, I'm gonna tell you this. How long we got, Vic?
We are at time right now.
Well, we about to keep going over. I'm gonna tell you this.
Okay.
I've housed so many people of the community who came live with me, queer and not, queer and straight, and I don't even express this a lot, but I've brought so many people in, and so many people have taken advantage of my my openness, and I'm not even mad at that. What I do sometimes have agitation with is when someone tried to question my intentions with how I operate in the community when I know I'm well-intentioned. But also, it's somewhat of my fault because I don't feel like I need to communicate all the time. I'm a poor communicator. My communication is through playing music. That's why I communicate at. I don't communicate through like just talking. It's just I'm a poor communicator, and I know that about myself, and I work on that about myself. I honestly, a big reason I wanted to have you on was just to communicate with you because we haven't had too many conversations. But expressing ideas with people is something that I really value and that I really enjoy. But at the end of the day, if someone infringes upon anyone's autonomy, I'm not jacking that. I don't jack that shit. That's just where I cut the line at.
for me, it is one of those things that like I am not a woman.
Yeah.
I've never in my 31 years of life have never been a woman. I do not foresee that being. I mean, I don't know what the future holds, but I do not foresee that. I do not foresee that being part of my identity in the next like 31, 32. You know what I mean? I don't foresee that being in the next part of my life.
Wait till your 60s.
Maybe. Who knows? I might turn 60 and I may sort of like I may discover a new gender presentation. I don't know, but what I do know is that a space that is not safe for you is a space that is also not safe for me.
Yeah.
Because there are people who I'm in community with who also like need to be here as well.
Yes.
Because if they are not able to come here, then I can't show up fully either.
Yeah.
And I think the problems that you are experiencing are problems that are important to me.
Yeah.
For example, I know that the conversations are slowly shifting amongst like people call them social justice. Well, used to. I think we're sort of shifting away from calling them social justice warriors. For the longest time, it was about queer people. Then it shifted to black people for a little bit. Then we shifted to like poor people. Now what seems to be the new conversation about like the group to move up next are trans people and disabled people. Seems to be these are the people and homeless people too. These are people who are like we're talking about. I, as it currently stands, am not trans, am not disabled, and am not homeless. But space that is not safe for those people also shows itself in ways that I'm not even aware of that are going on now. Because I'm working at this nonprofit and because I'm like a contractor, I technically don't have health insurance. And I'm starting to understand, oh, this is what that looks like. I couldn't get a COVID booster because they were like, we have no one to bill. I was like, but this is free. And they were like, yeah, it's free because the insurance pays for it, whether you have Medicaid or something else, but you don't have any, so we don't know who to bill. And they're like, we can't give you one until we figure that out. And so, like, I was like, oh, this is, like, a way of life that people are going through all the time. And also, what I'm realizing is that, oh, this is how some people end up homeless. Because, like, you end up getting hurt while you don't have insurance and now you can't pay for it. And so...
Exactly.
It is just one of those things of, like, when the world is fucked up for you, there is also a way in which I can be in that space, too. Your problems are my problems. It is important for me to be concerned about what is going on with you. And it's not that I don't care. It is that, for example, people's gender presentation does not have any bearing on the way that I feel about my gender presentation. But what it does is that if a space is not safe for you, that means that that's an in for someone to kind of like tick up on me. Trans women are talking about, if you question my womanness, typically it's only about trans women. They don't have these conversations with trans men. But like if you are poking your lasers at trans women, you then start to like boil what it means to be a woman down to this thing. And even non-trans women who don't fall into whatever you have decided what it means to be a woman, they are also under attack. And then once these women are under attack, then it starts to like find itself everywhere. And so that is just kind of how like your problems are my problems. And I just want to push back on you. And I know what you mean when you say you don't care.
Yeah.
But I do think it is important to care about what other people are doing, because that allows you to see the humanity in them and the humanity in you.
I respect that. Because I think, honestly, I don't think you're gonna.
Thank you.
You might not agree with me.
Yeah.
But I think we're saying the same thing. I just think I'm just much more like brash.
We might be
brash. I think we're saying the same thing because because at the end of the day, you're saying we all matter and how much. I think you're saying how much you care and love people, especially our people, and I think I'm saying the same thing. I said.
And recognize your influence.
I said this on the outskirts of this, that I'm not the best communicator. My Pisces is in Mercury, and I realize Pisces people don't communicate well at all because my last girlfriend was a Pisces, and I never know what the fuck.
Let's talk about that. What happened with that relationship?
I just remember you and I had that conversation at Poor Boys. Yeah. And there was a part in that conversation where I was like, the people who care about me don't interact with me like that. And if you want to be in community with me, if you want to be in my universe with me, you are not going to like talk to me like that. And you changed.
I did, but
then I also like, and because of that conversation,
we talked after that.
Correct.
I thought you was dismissive of me.
I know. I don't want to bring this back up. Not on live. I know. I don't want to bring it up.
We're
on
over time,
live.
so we don't want to go too deep into this.
Okay.
We can do it once we like end the cameras.
Yeah.
It's time for Tucker's wacky pulp culture corner.
Oh my god.
My segment of the show.
Oh my god.
NSYNC fans demand a reunion tour as band shares new video with throwback photo.
Oh my god.
Let's throw it to Vic in the studio.
I love you, Flo.
I really just gotta go to the bathroom.
I love you, Flo.
Love you too.
Thank you. It's been
Thank you
Setdeflo Radio.
much.
This was one of my favorite episodes. I ain't gonna lie to
you.
Never tell a lie, always live your life. We're gonna be at Domino this Saturday.
With Phlegm.
With
I'm at Ace Friday night. Rockaway booked me. I don't know what you're doing, Tucker. You doing something?
I'm going to see Broken Social Scene Friday. Shout out to Kat for the ticket.
Log in to Vick's OnlyFans. She got also a Playboy Centerfold. And she
Did
just
she
an
tell
amazing
you to say that?
No, it's on our website.
Oh.
It's on our website.
Oh, well, I'm just excited for Phlegm leading the
cool.
congregation on Saturday at Setdeflo.
I cannot wait.
We got Vic's private nudes Google Drive folder.
We also have nudes on our new and improved website. Make sure you nominate for your favorite Josa of the year at Setdeflo Awards.
Y'all should apologize to her for that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I posted your nudes on the internet.
Do not do
that
in front of
She did not seem to be the most.
Oh,
you
Lord.
should see how she.
You should see how she talked to us.
I know, but
she's
it's
the
not
most reckless talker.
Yeah, but I don't. It seemed. The reaction seemed to be like she was not feeling that.
Phlegm.
Whether it could be true,
Phlegm.
she could have,
Vick.
there could be nudes on the website.
Vic, I'm sorry.
It seemed like
your nudes online.
she may not have wanted y'all to talk about that.
I really have just been holding this pee in for like 10 minutes.
All right,
so
go ahead. Leave.
Okay.
Vic is crazy than all of us. Don't get that twisted.
Much.
She has
Thank
mental
you.
illness for sure.
Vic, can I press end? All right, cool.
See y'all on Saturday.
Yeah.